Hey y'all, so this is our rate of change review notes, okay? Reminder with rate of change, anytime you see that word's rate of change just means slope. And remember, slope is our change in y over change in x, rise over run, all those good things, okay? So anytime you see rate of change just means the slope. Okay, so let's look at a couple of different ways: points, word problems, tables, and graphs. So number one, I've given you 2 points, -3 to 8 and 5 to -2. So we can line those points up, -3, 8 and 5, -2. So how would I get from 8 to -2? Well, I would have to subtract 10. And how would I get from -3 to 5? Well, I would need to add 8. So for my rate of change or my slope, I do -10 because it's change in the y values over change in the x values over 8, which would just give me -5 over 4. And you can always type this in your calculator, y'all, if you are unsure. Okay, so number 2, same thing, rate of change, but now it's from a table. So when it's in a table, I can just pick out 2 of those points in the table and I can do the same thing. So to get from 1 to 2, I want to add 1. To get from -1 to 1, I want to add 2. Change in y over change in x. So 1 over 2, well, that's just equal to 1/2. Okay, nice and straightforward. And with a table, y'all, because I give you a bunch of points, you can always check to make sure that that pattern stays consistent. So you can see that we are always adding by 1 in the y direction and always adding by 2 in the x direction. So that slope, that rate of change does stay consistent the entire way down. All right, number 3, suppose that the water level of a river is 34 feet and that it is receding at a rate of 0.5 foot, should be feet, per day. Okay, so rate of, okay, remember rate of change and slope are the same thing. So my rate would just be 0.5. Okay, so you're just pulling it straight out of a word problem. Okay, so the other reason I knew that is foot per day. Remember, per, any, each, every, those are our slope words that tell us that it's a rate of change. Okay, so that's how I also knew 0.5 is the rate instead of that 34 feet. All right, last but not least, y'all, is number 4, pulling rate of change from a graph. So remember, rate of change is like the slope. Slope is change in y over change in x, or rise over run. So when we're looking at it on a graph, we can literally just do that rise. How much do I have to go up between 2 points? And the run, how much do I have to go between? So my rise, picking that nice pretty point, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I rose 8. And then I ran 2. So for my rate of change or my slope, rise is 8. Oop, that is a terrible 8. Rise is 8 over 2, which would be equal to 4. Okay. And just as a reminder, if instead of going up, we go down, then I just make my rise negative. I don't make both of them negative. So just something to keep in mind when you're looking at it for a graph. All right, y'all. Well, that is pretty straightforward, but that is rate of change from various different medias, points, tables, word problems, and then, of course, graphs. Go ahead and complete the practice activity.